Mr. Alomofe, it's a pleasure having you in my office today. You are welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. It's my pleasure to be here. You know, when I thought about doing this conference, one of the major things that I wanted to have happen there is for people to leave with a better understanding of accounting processes. And as you well know, we've been friends for some time. There's no better accountant that I personally know than you. And I felt that at your level, dealing at the level that you deal with, I think whatever financial strategies or accounting techniques that you are used to implementing at this level at Dangote Salt and throughout your career, I believe would be extremely valuable. And so that's why I invited you to speak at the conference, and I'm so happy and so honored that you agreed to do so.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's my pleasure to always give impart knowledge that we have been doing, not here even in Dangote. That has helped us a lot to grow. We'll be managing our business in a lot of ways. So it will be my pleasure to also pass the same knowledge to the people on how to grow their business, especially the medium and small scale business that you are asking me to come and speak on that day. So it's going to be a great pleasure for me. So
thank you so much. I appreciate it. So let's get started.
Okay.
All right. So let's just start from the very beginning. I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience. I would like you to tell us a little bit about your background as to what led you to who you are right now as financial controller for one of the biggest companies in the country. In fact, I would dare to say one of the biggest countries in Africa.
Okay. My name is Tunde Iwamofe. I'm an accountant in Dangote, the financial control of the Dangote Salt, the BU of Dangote Group. I've been an accountant from day one. Even I attended commercial secondary school, where accounting is the major thing that was being taught in that commercial secondary school.
Right.
And then I grew. I continued in that way. I also have a role as a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and other professional bodies as affiliated to the ICANN, as ACC also. So that has given me the privilege to work in Dangote. I joined Dangote as far back as 2010. So 2010, so I've worked at various capacity in Dangote. I've worked as their financial accountant, and with the integrity and the business understanding, I was promoted as their financial controller. 3 years. That's about 3 years ago, and that has given me an opportunity to see into the business and giving them information that has helped the salt business. As in Africa, the salt, Dangote Salt is the largest salt in distribution in Nigeria and even in Africa as a whole. So we are doing greatly, and we have been doing very well in the business. So that's I'm from Kogi State. You have to go, and that's me for you. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. I find it interesting. So you went through, even from your childhood, you've been doing one thing or the other with accounting.
Yeah.
I mean, when you and I relate outside of work, I realized you mentioned the word integrity. I think that's extremely important when it comes to accounting.
Very, very key. It's a key word that if you are working as an accountant in any organization, one was that you must be reliable. Your data, when we talk about integrity, is one thing about integrity, there's personality integrity. But as an accountant, there's also what we call data integrity. Because if your data, your information, so one cannot rely on it, decision making as to how the business and how the directors of the company take a decision on certain issues may become difficult. So that's why even integrity is you can have personal integrity. As a finance person, you must ensure that your data, your information also have integrity so that people can rely on such information. As a quoted company in Dangote, as Dangote Salt, some will see it as national sort of Nigeria, as the name before.
That's on the stock exchange.
On the stock exchange. So if you are given such an information to such people for an investor to come and invest in your company, or that some of us who are still growing our business and in the future, you want people to invest in your company. There are a lot of financial integrity, there are a lot of data integrity that people can say, this is what it is, and people can have confident to put their money, that is investing in your business, and that is what you see in Dangote as a whole group. You see a lot of investors coming into the salt business, coming into sugar, and all of that is very key. That's what we.
And that's basically because of the financial integrity. You know, speaking about that with relation to small businesses, it's no big secret that many millions of small businesses have very little, if any, financial integrity whatsoever. They don't keep their books. They don't, you know, they basically tap into money as and when they feel like. I mean, looking at it from that point of view, obviously you can't do that in a company like this.
Yeah.
So what would you advise small companies to do?
You know, I've come to realize that in Nigeria especially, where we have small scales and we have business owners,
yes,
they could not differentiate between their personal asset and the business assets. Okay. So to grow the business become a difficulty for a lot of people. Okay. And for a lot of small scale business, the fact that I can do it as a person. I don't need an accountant. The same proprietor that you see will be the admin manager. He will be the same as account manager. He will act as all the managers. So with doing this, it makes the business, to differentiate between the business data and the personal data becomes a very difficult challenge for people. And with this, taking some informed decisions that will guide the business to grow become a challenge for the person. You have deep into the business, and a lot of challenges are there for those people, for business owners, and that's why we are coming to speak, for people to know that there's difference between your business and one way of helping Nigerians, even talking about it globally. Right. The future of every nation is a small-scale business. Right. A lot of people must learn to invest in these places, even when you are, as an individual, if you are working, find something doing that has to bring in money for you, which can only be from the small-scale business. Right. So we will teach people on how to separate their business. We will also ensure that every owner's financial information to ensure that the business grow, how to control your incomes, how to control your expense, what are the challenges in there in taking some informed decisions. Right. When your data are correct, taking informed decisions will be very, very easy.
And I think that's very key. Taking decisions is where a major problem is, especially for small businesses. They don't know what to spend money on per time, they don't know how to grow their businesses, and even getting loans becomes a problem.
Well, that's exactly where you have it. Some small-scale business owners, they have come to say, oh, we have tried that bank, they have not given us, we are unable to access loan, we are unable to access that particular loan, but government say there is loan, they can go and get a loan, but when we get to the bank will not give you a loan without informed information. Bank will want to know what are your business plan, what are the streams of incomes, what are your cash flow for the next 1 year from that business. But you see that a small-scale business who does not employ a professional to put the data together will not be able to access that loan. So also that is why it is important that even as little as that business is, you set up a robust finance person, an intelligent person who has a financial background to help you do a lot of financial data in terms of your income, in terms of your expense, and able to differentiate your balance sheet, your financial position, your balance sheet, which is now known in the quoted company as your financial position. So and your cash flows is very, very important in getting loans. But a lot of business, small scale business, they don't even have a record to take to the bank and say, this is who we are, this is where we have started from, this is where we are, and this is where we are going for the future. A lot of small business owners cannot do this, and that gives a lot of challenges in accessing loan in the bank. So we will just advise people, if you are in a small scale business, get a good financial person. It doesn't have to be chartered, but if you can afford people that are chartered to help you do it, even if it's on part-time basis, or people who work in an audit firms, no matter how little the audit firm, but a known one, let them help you do your information, package you for such business, and you see your business, they start growing.
So what you're saying in essence is that proper accounting systems are a must. You can't do without it.
You can't do it without it. It's a must for you to have a proper accountability. Accountability give you the total picture of your company. So it is from your finance position that you know the worth of your company. If you take to the bank will want to know what is the worth of your business. And the worth of your business, it depends on how your information, your data that is being presented in financial terms, that a man can relate, oh, this is your capital, this is your liability, these are your creditors, these are your debtors, and this is how I am going to develop in the next 5 years, which you can do your 5-year cash projections and your business plan for the next 5 years. Even in other agricultural areas that you want to apply for agricultural loans for little business, they even want to see how you plan to grow. And these are the things that banks are looking for. These are other information. There are a lot of them, but I'm just talking from the financial point of view, that without accountability for a business, growth becomes impossible.
But the small business has a major problem, and that is the funds to be able to afford, you know, like you said, accountants, even on a part-time basis. What would you advise in a situation like that?
Yeah, you know, I've, with little experience I have, I've come to see that in Nigeria we don't pay premium on our assets.
Okay.
When we talk about business, the first asset, we have different classes of assets. Your asset number one is your people. When you don't pay premium because you know you are now looking at it, oh, how much should I pay an accountant that will come? How much will I pay my operating manager and all that? How can I afford people? Know that the first asset that grow any forms of business as a small scale business is your people. It's your people that give the data. It's your people that operate. If you are in a small scale, maybe a small manufacturing business that you want to go, let's say maybe plastic manufacturing, as small as it is, you need an operation manager that will operate the machine. You also need somebody who will bring the information. What is the sales? What is the cost of material, especially in Nigeria, whereby you have inflation rate that is keep on increasing, the cost of material because of a lot of importations, the FX that is not stable. As a business owner, you need someone who have all this intelligence to be able to predict for you what does the future hold, where is the inflation rate going, how do I manage my stock level. You talk about the other levels and all those things. These are the things that you need to pay someone for to be able to guide you. And when you have all this done properly, you'll be able to save a lot of costs, increasing costs and all that. The cost you save by this professional person giving you a good advice, informed one, is enough to pay them. But a lot of business owners, they don't realize that
penny wise, pound foolish.
Yeah, so they don't realize that there is a lot of cost saving when you bring in an accountant who is more knowledgeable and is able to plan your business for you. I need to get now the cost. Keep an item, that a material that you buy for 5 naira today, by next month it could be 10 naira, it could be 15 naira. But an accountant who know how to plan your stock level for you, and you have the capacity of holding stock for 2 months. He will tell you, sir, we can hold this stock for this. You will have saved how much from that. So the cost saving that comes from their profession, the experts they bring into your business is enough to pay you, to pay their salary. But if you don't look at the asset in that manner, and you think that, how can I afford, the accountants are asking for 60,000, 100,000, how can I afford it? Look at the cost saving benefit. Even the control process. In a small business, there are a lot of privilege, whereby staff take a lot from the business without you having a record to know what is happening. But a finance man who is knowledgeable in terms of internal control system, when you set up your internal control system for you and they are working properly, there will be a lot of cost saving. And this cost saving, you will pay the salary without any recourse to say, how do I pay the money? Yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think you've answered a lot of questions that I had. You know, talking about the challenges that small businesses face with regard to not doing the accounting properly. Can you tell me any examples of challenges you have had in your own, capacity as an accountant, especially perhaps for a large firm like this one?
Currently in Dangote, we know we have a lot of, even in the group, we have a lot of chartered accountants, a lot of people who work on different, like my finance department now. Currently, we have various units. We have the credit control unit. We have the management account unit, who do that, and then we have the account payable to receivable. So it is a large one. So, but the current problem that we are trying to manage as a business, because a lot of our materials are import. The salt is import. The potassium iodate, which is added to the salt, is also imported. So the great challenge that we face now is the FX, because assessing the FX for this. But thank God for the government that are selling FX forward now, so it gives us an advantage to be able to assess some of them to mitigate against the increased cost. So it's continuous cost increase. So these are the challenges that we have as a business, and what we do is to hedge against them by buying forwards from the CBN and all that. So those are the great challenge. But for this some small scale business, maybe more of their items are local. So what I think we do is a continuous increase in their price. What they need to do more is to plan their business, plan their production capacity, plan their business in order to know when to, if it is a manufacturing like ours, know the materials input, know what their output are, where do they have capacity to hold stock. So they go for that. Where do we have where is our strength in terms of sales, so that we can know that stock is going to go to this side, then we are going to realize money easily. Because if you continue to, they also need to know their cycle for payment. I know Nigeria, there's a credit facility for 30 days. We do that. So if they can also leverage on some of all this, some business, small scale, they don't consider that as a means of financing their business. Credit facility is also a good way of financing small scale business.
When you say credit facility, can you explain?
Like having a registered vendor. Maybe so you buy today, and the cycle will be 30 days payment. So that means you are actually buying from your vendor on credit. So that's another source of fund, because you are not going to pay immediate cash. And then when you do that, ensure that there is a market for your product, so that you also sell to your customers and you get your money back immediately, and you can. And most of the products in the market today, you and I know that if you go to ShopRite to buy any product, you pay your cash immediately. Go to any supermarket in Lagos, none of them will give you on credit. But if you are a small, as registered